let's get into it then. The hype or fraudulence of CGI ads. Now, CGI is massive. It's been on the rise, obviously, since the dawn of times. Um, Now, though, it's getting better than ever. It also is getting more expensive than ever. Now,
Mm.
have you had any experiences or any? Have you ran into any CGI ads? Have you worked with any? What's you like when I say CGI ads? What do you think of?
Yeah, so I think right now the most common stuff that the people out there they're going to see and that I see the most are popular locations in whatever country you're in
Yep,
with some sort of marketing campaign around that. So New Yorkers will be Empire State Building.
yep.
Australians will be Sydney Harbour Bridge. I mean, New Zealand, you can let me know what's the popular
Sky City,
location. Sorry?
Sky City Tower, Sky City
Yeah.
Tower. It's an awesome. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't seen a CGI ad that involves Sydney Harbour Bridge or at least Bondi Beach
yeah,
on your socials, then you've been asleep and you've not been on Instagram very much.
yeah,
Yeah, it's why I feel like it's been a great topic at the moment is because there is still this disconnect. Like why it's working so well still and creating so much garnering so much reach is people my age that haven't been in marketing or being like I grew up on computers. I studied programming. I did all that, so I've always been connected to the internet and
yeah,
computers. But other people my age are just so disconnected that a CGI ad that we would look at straight away and go, "Oh, that's CGI."
yeah,
Like we did one recently with GHD where there's hair flowing
yeah.
off it, and they're like, the first comment's like, "Oh, I hope that
How?
hair doesn't get, I hope that hair doesn't get in the harbor and like poison the fishes." And like a serious comment, and you're
Yeah,
like, you
yeah,
laugh at it, and you're like, but that's where
yeah,
that's still like that can be the next decade still of marketing with
yeah,
CGI. So it's like, do you want to create enough reach and I suppose speaking and like commenting around your posts?
yeah,
CGI could be the way, but it's definitely going to get cheaper. And the
yeah,
rendering, I don't know if everyone knows, but like what a rendering farm is. So with CGI,
yep,
you have to animate and create this product, but then it's such a big file that it's got to be rendered down. I
yep.
mean, that time will start to get taken
Shorter.
away. Rendering
Yeah,
farms will get cheaper.
yeah,
So I think it's not going to leave, but I think the rise of I've seen a lot of PR agencies now that just pop up and are just doing CGI, and the
yeah,
products I've seen coming out of them are very lackluster
yeah.
or
Because I
more
I
fake
remember.
looking.
Yeah, I remember one of the ones that I first saw initially was like some jewelry brand. I can't remember their name for the life of me, but basically they had like rings stacked onto the tower, and like for somebody that's like me, that's just like swiping through like hundreds or thousands of stores every day,
Yeah,
it's so eye catchy.
yeah,
Like, yeah, I mean, yes, there's the idea that like, oh, I can tell it's CGI right away, but it's still impressive. Like, it's technically impressive to do. So like,
mm,
you're kind of like tapping into both audiences. You're tapping into the audience that like knows it's CGI and is like impressed by it, but then you're tapping into the people that are like, what is this real? Shares it on Facebook to like every friend they have. So
mm.
it's yeah, it's a really cool thing where like you're tapping into like both sides at the same time.
I think where it can get like the really viral moments is because it's like for some people it's just using a location, like it's
Yep.
like, oh wow, like as I said, Sydney Harbour. um but I think where you can really nail it is the location, like really enhancing and matching the product,
Yep.
so it's like where it kind of switches over into this place where it looks like it's really being used in that location, or it's
Yep.
like a part of the scenery essentially,
Yep.
rather than just being, oh, we did a CGI style poster that comes to life on the
Yep.
side of a billboard, and
Yeah.
they're the ones that I've seen that have been like, you really, you just kind of taken aback and you're like, oh wow, thank you for creating this.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like let me ask this. So, do you think that it makes a lot of the times when these like new, I guess like advancements in technologies or in any industry, like people start wanting to spam them or people start wanting to like hurry up and like just
Mm.
rinse the concept. So, how would you go about managing a brand having not like is having
Trying
the
to stop them
CGI
from
ad,
doing it too much.
yeah, like
Yeah,
how do
yeah.
you not make it a gimmick thing rather than like, oh, a cool thing that we do every once in a while?
That's the toughest part. I think at
Yeah,
the moment is you're starting to, we're getting into shopping centers, local stores, smaller e-com brands.
yeah,
The price, as I said, as the price starts to come down, you get into a
yeah,
place where it's kind of doing it for the sake of doing it rather than trying to create something special.
yeah,
Um, I don't think it's you're ever going to be able to avoid
yeah,
avoid that in the marketing world. Like people will always see a gap, and
yeah,
then what are we now? Like I think in our initial notes that we discussed, the KFC one was 2019.
yeah.
We're
That's what.
2025 now.
Yeah,
So like
yeah,
that's
yeah,
where it kind of 2018, 2019 is where it started, and we're
yeah,
now only in the place where it's much more common,
yeah.
and it's probably not saturated yet, really.
Yeah, no, like in terms like maybe to you and I we see it more than the average person because we're in this field, but
Yeah.
like to an average person, they've probably seen one max five CGI ads in their life. You know what I mean? But to us, since we like see and know it all, it's kind of like I'm like yeah, I guess there's one way to think about it is that no, you should take yourself out of like the marketer shoes and be like, no, to an average person, this is not a hack. This is not something that's like rinsed. This is actually a new concept that hasn't been around for just under like 5 years or so.
It's
Yeah,
still, yeah, it's still the pricing's still just out of your average small business's reach.
yep,
So it's still inaccessible in that sense of like price versus need, I
yep,
suppose. Probably in the next 2 to 10 years we'll see it we'll get sick of it.
yeah,
But I don't think, marketers, that's what we do best is
yeah,
we make something until everyone's sick of it, and then we're like, what's
yeah,
next?
yeah. In terms of that, so like you've said you've worked on a CGI campaign with for a brand.
Yeah.
Okay, now roughly ballpark. You don't have to obviously give me the actual figure, but how much would something like that cost?
Um, so we're in the ballpark of like 5 to 10K
Okay,
for
and that's
one off.
Australian
Yeah,
dollars.
Australian AD, yeah.
Yep,
Um, you would see some of the bigger campaigns. So we know what a lot of the bigger guys are charging, and that's like where you're looking at a brand like Foot Locker might be doing something. They're looking in the
yep,
50 to 100K. But that's where you're looking at something that's, you know, our CGI's the what CGI that we've been doing is real and looks good.
yep.
But like I've seen some of the stuff where the bigger guys are doing it, and you're like, wow,
You can
that
tell it's
that is
cheap.
in no, no, no. Like the bigger guys are doing it, like that's you can
Oh,
see it's
the big stuff.
incredible.
Also,
Yeah, the
um,
level, the level. But
yeah,
then yeah, you can go below that. Like there's still you know, Filipino designers and stuff like that that are still doing
yep,
this kind of stuff.
yep,
Where you can access it for like 1,000 to 1,500, but then you can see is
yep,
really like you're like, oh, this is obviously
yeah,
just fake. But yeah,
mm,
it's not your everyday marketing campaign. It's like
yeah.
you might do it once a year for something, but yeah, in that 5 to 10K mark, I think is probably like the middle ground.
Now, okay, when you're yeah, okay, when you say those numbers and you see like an I don't know if it's whether it be on purpose or not, wherever you see like a low budget CGI ad go viral, does that hurt? Does that make you optimistic for the future? How does that make you feel?
I mean, there's no world in where that doesn't hurt,
Yeah, yeah,
but it's also I think you got to learn that you got to use that like anything that goes viral is and I think you guys I mean watching attention seeker content has probably taught me the most about that kind of stuff where it's you learn
yeah,
anything that wins you learn from, so it's like
yeah,
okay, did this win because it looks so budget or was there another piece of this that we didn't
yeah,
quite catch? But yeah, in no world does anything that's cheaper than what you're doing or
yeah,
someone undercutting you, does that not hurt? Like that'll always
yeah.
hurt, but it's just trying to push through it, I suppose.
Yeah, because yeah, I think like with that stuff, like we have this like big thing, in, especially like at the attention seeker, is that like like if you can prove it works with like a low budget or like a shitty quality or whatever, then you have a really good concept, and then because you could always scale the technical aspects,
Yeah.
but it's the actual concept that is like hard to nail down. That's like the actual gold in the rough.
Yeah, I mean that's beautiful, beautiful, like
Yeah.
poetic,
Ah,
essentially.
stop
You just don't.
it. I try, I try. Can I ask that? Are there any, like, not to put you on the spot, but are there any bad CGI campaigns you've seen that are like, oh my God, like this looks horrible?
Um, I haven't really seen. Oh, I mean, I do. I've probably got a couple in my Instagram DMs that
Yeah.
we've gone backwards and forwards of, but it's always like just a like it's just a cheaper ecom brand that's just trying
Yeah.
to access the hype.
Yeah.
It might be sunscreen, and it's just like the bottle pops up, and the lid opens or something like that, and you're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, what's the purpose of this? Like
Yeah.
what marketing, a good marketing is meant to tell a story, not
Yeah.
just stop the scroll.
Yeah.
There's meant to be something else there that's like, oh, I want to purchase this. Why am I wanting to purchase this product other than
Yeah.
you've just gone,
Ha- Yeah.
there's a bottle on screen, quick, purchase it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's as I said, like that's where I think any marketing can go wrong, is where you are just accessing this
Yeah.
thing. You've seen something that's worked, but you haven't looked into why it's worked.
Yeah.
You've just gone, oh, it's CGI.
Yeah.
Copy paste CGI. How cheap can
Yeah.
we how cheap can we access that for? Cool.
Yeah.
Our product CGI done.
Yeah.
You know.
No, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's definitely an exciting scene to be in, and yeah, I look forward to what's coming. Do you have any predictions of how that side of how that side of campaigns is gonna go?
Well, I think more and more, because right now we've rinsed, in my opinion, and
Yep.
obviously in the average consumer, as we said, their opinion, they're like CGI what? Um, but I think locations is over. I think that should be let go of after this year.
Yeah.
And I think more and more it should be like, um, how is where is my product coming to the what I'm trying to tell the story in CGI? It's like why have I chosen CGI?
Yeah.
And trying to get more creative with telling a story with how the CGI kind of enters into that, and more subtle as well. I think right
Yeah.
now the big uh grandiose statement of like, here is a big bottle in the Sydney Harbour
Yeah.
floating along. I think
Yeah.
the oversized CGI has been real popular at the moment,
Yeah.
essentially. Like, and I think it'll become more. Oh, was that CGI?
Yeah.
Like, I think understated will become more of a trend in the
Yeah.
future.
I saw recently a video, again, I keep seeing these videos, man, but I saw recently a video of on this TikTok, and it's basically, I mean, you can definitely tell it's AI, but it's like a camel parachuting down, but it looks so ultra realistic that people in the comments are actually going back and forth fighting whether it's real or not. So like, I think yeah, just stuff like that could, yeah, it's definitely
Yeah,
a
where it's
step
where
in the
it's
right
really
direction.
subtle. Like that's
Yeah.
because CGI is so good now, and as I said, as it gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, I think we'll get into really subtle
Yeah.
changes to things where it's like, oh,
Yeah.
is that so? You need to
Yeah.
get away from the conversations of like, boomers. Sorry, boomers. I'm a boomer. In the comments, going, "Oh, why are we doing this for marketing now? We're polluting the earth," and it's like, no, it's
Yeah.
just CGI. It's all
Yeah.
good. So
Calm down.
we need to get into that where it's literally like people going, is this real or is this
Yeah.
fake?
Yeah.
And really going at it and being passionate about
Yeah.
that, I think will be
Yeah. That's
a
what.
much better
Yeah.
use.
Yeah. That would be like the goal, I think, for a lot of campaigns. It's just like, yeah, create confusion or something. Yeah.
Yeah, create
Fair enough.
confusion.
Yeah.